Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Rando Geek. We have an article regarding AT&T. I find this article a bit interesting if you ask me because of the scenario how it played out. And there's honestly a lot to be learned from this from all sides if you ask me. We'll get into that a little bit after. Let me give you the details of what we're talking about here. So, according to the headline here, we're talking about a customer unhappy with AT&T, so unhappy that they've decided to leave AT&T as a customer and go to T-Mobile. Apparently, they spent more than an hour trying to drop one line with AT&T, which completely went south. All right, the article is coming from Phone Arena. I will link it down below for you in the description if you want to check it out on your own. So it looks like this information is being brought to us by Phone Arena, which they got from someone on Reddit. So it looks like someone by the name of Budget P9979967 posted on his Reddit about canceling a single line with AT&T. Apparently, it looks like this Reddit user was using a line that he had, with AT&T. It looks like he graduated and was leaving the U.S. and was not expected to return to the U.S. anytime soon. So it looks like the AT&T rep continued to extend what should have been a minutes-long chat into an hour-long visit through hell, they're saying, for the AT&T customer who shared screenshots, of course, covering the whole conversation. It looks like the AT&T rep continued to push and pull to try to prevent this subscriber, aka the user, from canceling the line. It looks like the rep threw everything at the subscriber, they're saying, including the kitchen sink, aka which is a joke. One option was to suspend the line and pay $10 per month for 6 months so that the account would be ready to go if the customer who left the country decided to return within 6 months. The rep then pivots, asking the subscriber if anyone else wanted to use the number and pointed out that that line is eligible for an upgrade that would allow the customer to get $500 in bill credits towards the purchase of an iPhone 15 series model. So they tried to upsell them a phone. They did let the customer know that, he didn't have to cancel it. If he was indeed going to return in 6 months, he could have paid $10 to keep the line active. So I think that was in some way good, giving him options just in case. So there's nothing wrong right off the bat with that, right? For them just that's their job to make sure that you're okay, that you're not just leaving because you're unhappy. Maybe they feel like there's some way that they can repair the damage that was done that's causing you to leave, right? So the customer, might have jumped the gun being upset about that right off the bat. As a customer service rep, you're expected to try to find out what's wrong with the customer, why they want to leave. Make sure that it's nothing that can't be undone, no problems that can't be unsolved before the customer does indeed walk away and it's too late to resolve anything that could have been fixed. So I get that. I guess if the customer service rep just canceled the line and didn't show any sincerity or act like he cares about the relationship at all, then this customer would have been upset about that. But anyway, the upselling, the point where it gets to the customer service rep trying to push an iPhone 15 on them and then the bill credits, that's when it starts to turn away from actually caring about what the customer is feeling or wanting and becoming more of an upsell and just doing business to help AT&T out. So that's when it starts to get, beside itself. And that's when I would personally start to feel offended by it if I'm asking to drop the line. So there are screenshots, as we can see here, provided by the customer. And then we can see here that Kelvin Durant is the AT&T support specialist. There are some people saying that this was a chatbot, and that's why this customer was not getting the help that they wanted. But you can clearly see there's a customer service rep's name. This isn't, it doesn't just say AT&T support specialist or that it's an automated response. After hours, you would get that kind of message that, hi, I'm whatever, Bobo, the automated system from AT&T. That's not what this is. This is a live rep speaking and responding accordingly to the questions. It's just not the answers that this customer wants to hear, right? So you can see here, he's saying, I have better options for you on this. Since the user of the line is out of the US, how about I help you suspend the line under reduced rate suspension for 6 months? This is when he offers the $10 per month. So it's actually $10 per month, not $10 per every 6 months, to keep the line open, which still wouldn't be that bad if you knew you were going to return, right? And you had a valuable number that you liked and a good plan, and you didn't really want to lose it. In a normal case that you were going to return and possibly reuse the line when you come back, this would have been a good deal. But that's not what this customer wanted. So in his case, he's not happy with hearing about this. He just wanted his line gone because he's not going to be using it, right? So he didn't want it anymore, period. So then, as you can see in blue here is the customer upset, responding back. And then, you can see that Kelvin responded back as change. He wrote something else in change. And then apparently they're saying part of the chat went on for much longer than an hour between AT&T and the customer service rep. He didn't include everything that was there. So they're saying every time the customer made it clear that he did not want to do anything but cancel the line, the rep came back with something to offer. At one point, the customer informs the rep, can you please go ahead and help me cancel that line? My lunch break is almost over. Other times, the subscriber had to type, please, God, cancel it. And I didn't know I needed to repeat cancel the line for 17 minutes. So they're saying that the rep didn't realize that this was such a big hassle for the customer, et cetera, et cetera. But, I guess it just kind of went on and on and on. And then it looks like here he even asked the customer service rep, asked if you can think of any friends or family that would benefit from using this line for their phone, smartwatch, or another device. So very unusual behavior from a customer service rep. I got to be honest, I'm just going to jump right to it. AT&T does not have the best customer service. I'll tell you that right now. I love the service. I think AT&T has very good, reliable service, but their customer service team has really been not so good. It's a little better on postpaid than it is on prepaid. On the prepaid side, it's really bad. It's almost like, what's the point of having customer service? You're better off with no customer service. That's how little help that they can provide. They don't really understand anything you're asking, which is the big problem there. They're not trained right. They're overseas. They're not understanding what you're asking half the time. They don't want to help you. They're not getting paid enough to help you. And they really just don't care about the job. You can tell. And it's probably because they're being treated terribly. And that's usually the problem with these overseas positions. Most of these, employees are not being taken care of, and they're just sick of hearing people calling and complaining all day about AT&T not being a good service for them for whatever reason. So that's why, we should really reconsider our positions here and stop transferring calls over there. But this is what these companies do to save a couple pennies, and ultimately the customer is the one that gets affected by this. And that's the problem when, a couple months ago, I heard that a lot of companies were going to be doing that. Verizon, for one, getting rid of all U.S. customer service reps. Huge mistake, because you're going to get a lot of disappointment. If you think this is bad, this is what it's going to be like 24/7 with customer service with these wireless carriers if they all route them overseas, which they are doing. So unfortunately, we must get used to this. This is the way it's going to be, because they're going to do this because it's cheaper. And we're just going to have to deal with it. So, long story short here, the customer was not happy so much that he said he's going to cancel the line. And he's, it looks like he went to T-Mobile to teach them a lesson. Now, T-Mobile's customer service is hit or miss, right? Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. If you call at certain hours, you're going to get transferred overseas. And you're going to see that the problem is going to be the same as it was with AT&T. So what I'm getting at here is I think a lesson can be learned from this, from AT&T, that their customer service needs to be looked at. I think that they need to reposition themselves and figure out a way to offer better service. But I think this is a very important thing that all of the wireless carriers need to learn from. They're all lacking, if you ask me, in the customer service department. This is our future if they don't get a hold of this. There's going to be a lot of these complaints. And what are you going to have? You're going to have one customer leaving AT&T for T-Mobile, one customer leaving T-Mobile for AT&T. And what are they going to just do? Jump back and forth, back and forth, back and forth? You know, I get the frustration from this customer. He's not wrong. I mean, this is a very weird scenario here. I don't know if this is just an employee that has difficulty understanding what's going on. Maybe he thought he would get some kind of promotion if he was able to retain this customer for some reason. Nobody knows what was really going on here. This is a little bit more unusual than you would normally see. This is talk about white glove service. This guy was going like white glove service with like a bow tie on. I mean, this was severe, over the top, trying to keep this customer. And clearly the customer didn't want to be bothered. But I do think overall customer service definitely needs to be improved with these wireless carriers, especially on the postpaid side. That's part of the postpaid luxury, right? Is that you pay more, you get treated with a little bit more royalty, a little bit more luxury as a postpaid customer. That's what it's all about. That's why you're paying more than you would with prepaid or an MVNO service. That's not what we're getting, though. Most of the time, we're not getting that white glove service, and that's why a lot of customers leave. Unfortunately, they go to MVNOs or other alternatives because they're sick of, paying a lot of money and not getting the assistance that they want. Customer service has certainly not been good for AT&T for a very long time. They've been ranked not so good for a while. You might hear some stories here or there where it's improved. Yes and no. Like I said, it's a little better on a postpaid side, terrible on a prepaid side. Even if they try to help you on prepaid, they just don't know anything that it's frustrating. It's a little, it's a little much that when you ask for simple little things and they just can't offer that assistance, it can get annoying. And I understand where some customers are coming from when they get upset about it. I guess that's why with me, some people complain about Visible not having a customer service number. They say the chat is no good. I mean, honestly, what good is a number if you're calling overseas and the person doesn't understand anything you're saying anyway? As far as I can tell, the reps that are, chatting, that you're using to chat with Visible are most likely in the US, because it seems like they kind of understand what you're asking. They can't always help you because they're not always going to be able to do so. Certain requests require higher approval, or it's just not in there. It's not in the deck of cards. There's certain things that they just won't do for you, like adding a CNAME, adding a caller ID to your service. They just don't offer that kind of luxury anymore. So those are things that you're just not going to get. Doesn't matter who you speak with, unless you get really lucky and a manager just kind of approves it. But again, you got to get really lucky. So at the end of the day, all of these wireless carriers need to improve. They need to step up, because it is something that's important for a lot of customers. It's getting a little bit clownish now when, there are people that want to have a respectable service like AT&T postpaid or Verizon postpaid or T-Mobile postpaid. They're choosing to keep postpaid because they want a level of respect. Maybe they use their phone to speak with clients or taking, some kind of important calls. And they don't want to turn to MVNOs. They can afford the luxury of postpaid. They want to enjoy that. Maybe they're doing good. They're turning that into like too much of a clown thing. So at this point, it's like eventually there's not going to be a need for these high-end plans anymore. Nobody is going to want them, Nobody's going to want them if there's no difference than being treated like an MVNO customer. And, that's just my opinion on it. That is why I'm going on. That's why this video is dragging. simply because for those of you that do watch me regularly, you know that I want to give it like I want to give you a clear picture of my feeling about it. I don't want to sugarcoat it. I want to just keep it honest. And I want to point out all the things that I feel like are silly with this whole thing. And I think the companies need to really reevaluate their customer service. Figure it out. Whatever you got to do. Stop making excuses for it. They're big enough companies that they can invest a little bit better in the amount of training that employees are getting. Maybe give them a little more incentive to care. I don't blame some of these employees for being upset. Maybe they're overworked, underpaid. So I blame the companies. They have all the money. They have to take the responsibility to make sure that their staff is well fed before you go and send them out to fight a war, right? You can't have them out there going in battle with no energy, right? So that's the same case here. Anyway, once again, thank you guys for stopping by and watching. Like I said, this link will be down below for you if you want to read it. I didn't read the whole thing. I just kind of went through it. You can read it on your own if you want all of the details. I just wanted to kind of cover the basis, key points, and then give you my feelings, thoughts, and discuss it a little bit with you. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.